Ladies, and this is the feature attraction of the evening. The best
is disqualified. Ooh. Slammed him into
mercifully with his headlock. Look out. Oh.
And Brody just going berserk here on
Johnny, look at this. Fans, there's no mistaking Billy Graham.
Getting the heck out of Dodge. And they tanned Ric Flair.
I want you and everyone listening in to know one thing. That if they ever made another guy better than me, he hasn't been made.
Fine. Nice tackle by Flair. Put Steamboat down. Good movement by Steamboat. Great leap from. And what a top. And the champion of the world on the
Head was the dead.
Oh, come on now.
Might have hurt his leg a little bit there.
A referee stands stubborn.
Billy plays that fight though.
Go into the ring when Roddy Piper Doc Conwell wants to go into the ring, Mr. Announcer. Right.
Here comes Koloff off the ropes. Look at the power. Oh, he hit the back of his head. Oh!
That is, to a nicer guy, it couldn't happen.
The gang setting himself. That's 747. The one-man gang with a 747. Ted DiBiase has just gone by our vantage point. There you see Ted DiBiase at ringside. Now, I don't know. Ted DiBiase is a very intelligent man. I've said many times he is the supreme tactician in the ring. But he's out there alone. The doctor is in and is at ringside. Things are evening up here somewhat. But as awesome a team, and as awesome, and look at Akbar says, no, let's just wait a minute here. They got 4 on 2, and Akbar now is going to try to hedge his bets. I was going to say, as awesome as DiBiase and Williams are, and Ted DiBiase has just equipped himself for war. Irwin's got his whip, Akbar's got that riding crop. Welcome to Universal Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross. Welcome to this segment, ladies and gentlemen. We have a great program. Chavo Guerrero takes on Rick Steiner in the hour. Ted DiBiase wrestles the one-man gang for the Universal Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be a great hour. And Michael Hayes has asked Cowboy Bill Watts, the president of the Universal Wrestling Federation, to join us. And Michael, obviously you have something on your mind.
First of all, Mr. President, I think that you are well aware of, as all the wrestling fans all across the world know, that the Freebirds are always out to improve and better the sport of professional wrestling. It has come to my attention that numerous times, and I'm talking about time after time after time, that me or any of my brothers, when we have a match against the missing link, whether it's singles or in tag teams, that little poor excuse for a frustrated woman, Dark Journey, is always interfering. And quite frankly, I think, Mr. President, that it's time that you show your authority. Because see, this master brain's come up with a plan to put Dark Journey right where she belongs, in a cage. Because I'm sure she feels right at home in a cage. And I guarantee you, Mr. President, if you'll put this girl in a cage, then I'll have no problem, and neither will my brothers, in taking care of our matches, because that will cancel interference.
Well, first of all, Michael Hayes, because it's just you and I up here and you don't have any of your friends with you, you call me Mr. out of respect, don't you? Secondly, if you really wanted to help professional wrestling, you'd retire. And third, I agree that there's too much interference.
All right.
Too much interference, often by you, by Sunshine, by Missy Hyatt, by Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I think you've got a real good idea. You know, in ice hockey, they have a penalty box. I think this cage would make a great penalty box, that when there's a valet, like when in your match and Sunshine gets caught for interference, I think maybe she ought to be stuck in here for 1 minute.
Not Sunshine, not a beautiful woman like that. You don't treat a beautiful lady. I brought this cage out here for Dark Journey.
I think what's good for one's good for the other. If Dark Journey gets caught violating a rule, then I think she should have to go in the penalty box for 1 minute. I think anybody in your match that gets caught violating a rule should have to go in there, even if it's you. I'm in favor for one time of your idea about a penalty box. I think it's a good idea. It'll stop some of this interference.
That's your idea. I don't want no penalty box. I want Dark Journey put in here because she belongs in a cage.
Hey, all I've got to say is, Michael, that's a great idea. I think that for one time, your demented mind has come up with something great, that in a match that either valet would get caught. I think that valet should have to go in this penalty box for a minute.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear from Cowboy Bill Watts and Michael Hayes. And now let's go up to ring announcer Mike Wilson.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing from Pensacola, Florida, at 229 pounds, Mike Boyette.
Return to the Universal Wrestling Federation. Here comes Chris Adams, much to the delight of this tremendous crowd in the Tulsa Convention Center. Jim Ross and Michael Hayes now with you here. And Michael, it sounds like Cowboy Bill Watts is going to accept your idea.
That wasn't my ideal. My ideal was to put Dark Journey in there, not Sunshine. Sunshine does not deserve to be treated like that.
Also introducing from England at 233 pounds, gentleman Chris Adams. This match, 1 fall or 10-minute time limit.
Yes, I think you had a great idea, Michael. And Cowboy Bill Watts...
Well, I'm sure you'd think it was a great idea.
He amended it somewhat. But it sounds like it's fair. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, as the old saying goes.
Sunshine doesn't interfere.
Well, if she doesn't interfere, she will have nothing to worry about.
That's right. It'll prove itself.
Mike Boyette, the veteran from Pensacola, Florida, against one of the finest young men, one of the finest athletes in pro wrestling today, gentleman Chris Adams.
He's making his, as you put it, triumphant return. Boyette now with a side headlock. Adams shoots him off. Good shoulder tackle by Boyette. Adams drops down. Boyette crosses over. High elevated backdrop. Good arm drag. And I have to wonder myself, and I'm sure a lot of the fans, is how well has Chris kept himself in condition, and what kind of shape is he going to be in?
I asked that question to Chris prior to going on the air, and he said, Jim, I had a lot of time to stay in good shape.
Well, I guess so.
He worked out a great deal, and he will admit that he has spent a lot of time training.
Now, there's some controversy in the ring. Boyette is claiming that Adams on the arm drag used the hair for leverage to hook him and take him over. And we know that Chris Adams is quite capable of resorting to such tactics.
Capable, yes, but in this instance, I don't think so.
Collar and elbow, both men back in the corner. Boyette, no slouch by no means, an accomplished veteran. Good turnbuckle by Boyette, good elbow right to the head. Welcome back to wrestling, going for the cover quick, smart. Did not hook the leg, Jim Ross.
He certainly didn't, and Chris Adams kicked out at a 2 count.
Adams ducked the elbow that time. There, oh! Good night, super kick. Chris hasn't forgot that.
He certainly hasn't. He caught Mike Boyette right on the chin. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. Dr. Death Steve Williams is on his way right after this timeout.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Dr. Death Williams.
Boy, do I have a surprise for you people. You know, you people have watched me and followed me since I wrestled and played football at the University of Oklahoma. I just want to introduce you to somebody who's going to be my protege, Steve Cox. You know, Steve, the greatest thing in this business is to bring somebody in here and to teach them and to show them and how to teach them how to kick tail and take name. Just like Bill Watts showed me. Steve, I'm going to show you everything I've got and a few tricks up my sleeve. Now, I'm going to tell you, the best thing and the best advice Bill Watts gave me is told me to watch every single match. So what I'm telling you is I'm going to get you a chair right there, big boy, and I'm going to give you the best seat in the house, and you're going to watch every single match. So welcome to UWF, Steve Cox. One thing about this man, an All-American from Tulsa. This guy was an All-American from Tulsa, amateur background, and he even played football with me at the USFL. So welcome, Steve Cox. All right, buddy. Let's take that seat right here.
Interesting comments there, Michael, from Steve Dr. Death Williams, the new protege, much like Cowboy Bill Watts, brought Dr. Death into this sport not that long ago, as a matter of fact.
I'm really touched.
I thought you'd be
really touched.
Not a dry eye here, huh? Mike George will be Dr. Death's opponent. Now let's go up to Mike Wilson.
And introducing from St. Joe, Missouri, at 279 pounds, Mike George. This match, one fall or 10-minute time limit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Death Steve Williams with his self-proclaimed protege, Steve Cox, sitting at ringside.
Self-proclaimed flunky. Tell you what, that is a very good statement, very good advice. When you're starting out in wrestling, watch all the matches and you'll see how other guys make mistakes, how they counter them. But I don't know if he's going to learn anything here. If he watches Mike George, he might.
Oh, come on, Michael.
I'm not taking nothing away from Dr. Death. He's a very good wrestler, but he's not a free bird.
Well, that's certainly true.
If the kid's lucky enough, me and Buddy will show him the art of tag team wrestling later on in the program.
Mike George, a big, powerful man, locking up with Dr. Death Steve Williams. Side headlock applied by Mike George. You'll see the Freebirds in action in the hour, along with Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Sting.
Whoa, big slam, and he's picking up a lot of weight there.
There's Steve Cox, very intent.
Dr. Death explaining to go down, squat down so you can use your legs. Don't just use your upper body when you pick somebody up, because you pull a back muscle just as quick as you can bat an eye.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Universal Heavyweight Championship still to come in the hour. Ted DiBiase will challenge the giant champion, the one-man gang. Chavo Guerrero takes on Rick Steiner in the hour. It's going to be a tremendous hour of UWF action.
And there's a counter slam. Very good move by George. Yeah, see how to do that? As Bill Watts said, and I quote, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And speaking of good, a lot of people have been asking, the album's almost completed. It'll be out pretty soon, Jim Ross. Good rock and roll.
I'm sure you'll keep us updated on that situation. I'm anxious to hear it, as a matter of fact. Dr. Death, a very imposing figure as he, with those menacing eyes, sizing up Mike George.
You know, the dressing room talk is all going. A lot of people feel that tonight, right here on this show, Ted DiBiase may be able to upend the one-man gang.
He has come so close, and of course that unofficial pin right here on the UWF. We all saw it right here. Ted DiBiase can put the gang down. He did it with a wrestling move.
Yeah. Whoa! Flying splash. But no, see, he didn't hook the leg, and Williams should know that from his amateur experience. George with the upper body strength was able to power up. Powerful headbutt by Williams. Totally legal, as to where in boxing it's illegal. You know what appalls me is my brother Bam Bam is yet to get his rematch. And every champion's always got a return clause, yet he does not get a rematch. DiBiase gets all he wants.
You got to do a little bit stronger negotiating with the general, sounds to me like.
Whoa, Dr. Death went for a backdrop, George. Hooked the rope, slowed his momentum, and a well-placed boot to the left shoulder.
Mike George is a former North American heavyweight champion, and he is a very accomplished competitor in the squared circle.
And Steve Cox wants to learn something, Jim Ross. See how he's staying right on the part of the body that he injured. That left shoulder, that left arm. And that's the same arm that we hurt some months ago. Oh, ducked the clothesline. Whoa! Dr. Death answered with a clothesline of his own. Looks like that left shoulder's still hurting him. George went for a one-legged suplex. Dr. Death hooked the rope. Came back with a clothesline. Oh, he's setting up. Ooh, football spear. Second one.
He was an all-Big 8 performer at OU.
He's got him rolling now. I think he's going to. There he goes. Stampede. If he performs this should be it. Whoa. That's some weight going down.
That's the first lesson for young Steve Cox. Dr. Death and the patented Oklahoma Stampede. Ladies and gentlemen, the Universal Heavyweight Championship will be online. Don't you go away.
If there's any triple teaming from now on, it's going to become on our side of the dressing room. One-man gang. I put your shoulders to the mat with 1, 2, 3 count. No title on the line. Tonight, the title's on the line, and I'm walking away a champion once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match for the Universal Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first from Chicago at 500 pounds, 6'9", the one-man gang, the current UWF champion. Also, General Scandal Akbar.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Ross back with you at the Tulsa Convention Center. I've been joined by the president of UWF, Cowboy Bill Watson. Bill, thank you very much for being with us here for this very important encounter between Ted DiBiase and the one-man gang.
Jim, this should be a great bout. The Universal Wrestling Federation Championship at stake.
Michael Hayes said it earlier, this may be Ted DiBiase's night. And coming from Michael, that's a pretty darn good prediction because he knows both these men extremely well.
I'm certainly glad to be here, and I want to thank everybody for inviting us into their home. It's a great match, and these men, there's no love lost between them, and they're getting it going. The one-man gang's wanting to soften Teddy up and get him right out of the blocks. And Ted DiBiase's a tough kid. I remember when he cut his teeth on the likes of Killer Carl Cox and Dick Murdoch. When you survive that, you can survive anything.
DiBiase's firing back, Bill.
Ted's a battler. I'll guarantee you he'll fight. I first met Ted DiBiase in Tampa, Florida when West Texas State played the University of Tampa. The last season that Tampa had football. Billy Blanchard was the quarterback on that team. Oh, the gang went for it. The gang, I think, is a little worried about DiBiase. He wants to put him out of commission fast. Of course, Ted DiBiase said, sooner or later, he's going to get his hands on Skandar Akbar in some kind of one-on-one situation. And he just wants a piece of Akbar. He doesn't care who wins or loses. He just like Akbar in there all by himself with him. But right now, he's got 500 pounds of the chief agent of Devastation Incorporated, and DiBiase is dishing it out.
He certainly is. Ted DiBiase taking over the one-man gang. If you just joined us, this match is for the Universal Heavyweight Championship. General Skandar Akbar looking on at ringside. Along Steve Cox down there. He'll get a lesson on this. DiBiase is the master.
You see, the gang has got so much mass, Jim. When a guy is that big, oftentimes a move that to you fans at home seems insignificant is just awesome due to the crushing power and the tremendous leverage. And there, of course, Akbar looks like he drove the heel of that whip just under the short ribs of DiBiase's back. Even Dr. Death Steve Williams has to have respect for that kind of mass. I remember he wrestled, the only time I ever saw Doc actually pinned in his entire collegiate career was against Mitch Shelton, the fine Oklahoma State heavyweight who weighed about in excess of 450 pounds. You just have to respect that weight and that mass. I don't care who you are. You can't shoot it under.
Akbar has taken some liberties while the referee has been detained with the one-man gang. Ted DiBiase trying to shake loose here and get back in the ring and get back on the attack.
Well, you also got to realize Ted DiBiase doesn't want Akbar disqualified because he wouldn't get the title. He wants to win that title. And I think that, one-man gang may have to hard time eating because they just took a bite out of that steel railing. And Teddy's firing away. The referee's trying to get Skandar Akbar back into his position. And DiBiase is carrying his battle right to gang. Teddy caught one too, a wild looping right hook into the gut by the top henchman of Devastation Incorporated. Akbar seems to find him, Jim. I don't know how he keeps coming up with him. He's got Eli the Eliminator, got Wild Bill Irwin. He's always on the lookout, and he's willing to spend the money.
And he has a gang and even 500 pounds for this contest.
See, that tremendous momentum the gang gets by whipping. Did you see how hard Ted hit those turnbuckle corner pads? That is a shocking situation. You hit so hard, it just jars your back, it jars your teeth, it gets your kidneys, it gets your lungs. The gang is so big, it's just he sets such centrifugal force when he whips a guy like that. There he goes again. But Teddy was waiting for him. Oh, my gosh.
The gang just
annihilated the referee. The referee was just smashed. He's just like a waffle in a waffle iron, and now the gang has got DiBiase completely at his mercy. Jim, there he goes. He's going up. Just like he did in Fort Worth to Ted, he's going to try to put Ted right out of the business. The gang wants to eliminate Ted DiBiase from wrestling. That's almost like a total eclipse. Oh, look at that man leap. Teddy moves. That same Ted DiBiase getting out of the way. Teddy's going for his glove, Jim. He's pulling out that glove. Ted says he's got to fight fire with fire. Man, he's got to save his life is what he's got to do. Here comes the gang. Gang is coming. Turn around, Ted. There it is. He just stiffed him in the breadbasket. He's trying to fire off. Akbar tripped him. That a gig, Jim. I think there ought to be a penalty box there all the time for stuff like that. Now Akbar's in there. He doesn't care if he gets disqualified. Steve Cox is in there. Steve has pushed Akbar away. Steve should be watching from behind, kid. Oh, Ted DiBiase drop kicked the gang into Steve Cox. Yeah, Teddy's dropped one on this thing. Is pandemonium. Steve Cox is counting down. Cox, it's not an official victory, but it's certainly a moral victory. And Teddy's grabbed the belt. He's going to take the belt anyway. Ted DiBiase's going to take the belt and leave.
Somebody better bring that UWF title right back here now. No punk kid, whoever he is, or Ted DiBiase rightfully deserves that belt. I want it back, and I'm not leaving till I get it. Or shall we put it this way? At the conclusion of this match, if that belt is not presented to me, I'm going to own UWF. And you better listen to Watts. I know you're up there too. I want it. You understand? At the conclusion of this match, I'm going to own it because I'll call my attorneys right now.
Well, we'll try to get the ring introductions here, ladies and gentlemen. Those comments from General Skandar Akbar. Now let's hear this from Mike Wilson.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our next match from Dallas, Texas at 230 pounds, Jeff Rates. Also introducing from Houston, Texas at 247 pounds, Gary Young.
Well, Bill, General Akbar quite upset.
Well, he certainly is, and of course, he has a valid technical point. That wasn't an official of Mid-South or the Universal Wrestling Federation out there, so certainly that will not stand as a title change, but it's a moral victory for Ted DiBiase. The thing that bothers me, it may be a very scary situation for young Steve Cox. He may not have known what he's got himself in for, and of course, here comes my, certainly not my favorite music or my favorite people as Michael Hayes hits for the ring.
Michael Hayes and Buddy Jack Roberts, the fabulous Freebirds, of course, accompanied by Sunshine. They're taking on the young team from the Lone Star State. And Mike Wilson will have the introductions momentarily.
Well, certainly if arrogance made you a champion, Michael Hayes would be one.
Also introducing, ladies and gentlemen, accompanied by the lovely Sunshine, at the combined weight of 477 pounds, from Bad Street, USA, the fabulous Freebirds, Michael P.S. Hayes and Buddy Jack Roberts. This match, one fall or 10-minute time limit.
Michael Hayes, Jimmy, always has to have an entourage, somebody to pay homage to him. His ego will not let him ever be anywhere by himself without people that are under his control. You know, for years, top wrestling promoters all over the country have tried to get Terry Gordy to wrestle by himself. Without a doubt, he's one of the finest athletes in the business today. But Terry continually has Michael Hayes, somehow has a hook on him and does all his negotiation. There's the former All-American from the University of Tulsa, an All-American guard, former amateur wrestling champion, Steve Cox, back at ringside, as Doc told him, watching each match intently. But Steve, this last time, and I understand his feeling, he just couldn't stand there and see what was happening with Ted DiBiase. But little does he know the vengeance of Skandar Akbar. That could really be a crucial point in his life. And Doc, if you're listening, you certainly better clue him in when he comes out to never to get his head on a swivel, just like when he was playing football, and be looking all directions.
Nice move there by Jeff Rates as he held on to the armbar from Buddy Jack Roberts. Rates in the arm barred. Coming up, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Sting, along with Missy Hyatt, will be in this hour. And a great matchup, Chavo Guerrero one-on-one with Rick Steiner.
That'll be awesome. That'll be fantastic. Both those guys with tremendous amateur backgrounds, both of them competitive and quick. I'm certainly glad I'm here to get to view this right up firsthand close. But if you've never seen it live, ladies and gentlemen, it's just, there's a whole difference to being in the arena. You know, I'd watched so much football on television, then I went to see the Dallas Cowboys play live, and I'd forgotten how much fun it was to be there live and in person.
Michael Hayes, the man that wants the penalty box match.
Well, Michael Hayes is the man that ought to be in the penalty box, but it should be a lot more than that. It probably should be behind bars with his hero, Charles Manson. Good move. Got to give the devil his due. Michael Hayes hits the gym. He works out. He's in condition. He's developed himself into a top and a formidable. Oh, Buddy Roberts, right on Gary Young's jaw.
And from the second row, Buddy got some added momentum there.
Snap pair.
Buddy Jack, the veteran member of the Freebirds, coming down, and Young moves out of the way. Tag has been made.
Jeff Rate's using all arm and no body as he's trying to hit to the forearms there. There's not a lot of shocking power. See, as he fires, he's not getting that shoulder rotation in there, so it's just not effective against a veteran like Michael Hayes. Gary Young will battle you tooth and nail, though, Jim.
He certainly will. Young goes for the drop kick. Now, Rates is a legal man in the ring.
Michael Hayes got a vicious left as you see him hook Gary Young to the jaw. And then you see Buddy Jack with his Bulldog Stampede. And he then into a half Nelson, and he gets the fall. And there's Sunshine. Of course, Michael says she's always innocent, but always there.
If she doesn't break the rules, she won't be in the penalty box. It's that simple. And the fabulous Freebirds have scored an impressive victory here, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back with more exciting Universal Federation action after this timeout.
Ladies and gentlemen, earlier General Skandor Akbar said after the last match that he demanded the UWF belt back, and he has a few words to say.
That's right. Listen good. What's your name, boy? Yes, you. I'm talking to you at ringside. You go around back-jumping people all the time. Is that the American way? Well, I understand that your protege of the Oklahoma flunk-down, Dr. Death Williams. Well, you're in bad company to begin with. I don't know who you are or what you represent. But if you want an education, you don't have to go to college. I'll give you one through Devastation, punk. So nobody, shut up and listen to me. Nobody puts their hands on the Godfather. Nobody puts their hands on the General. And if you don't think there's any consequences, you just ask Hacksaw Duggan, who's long gone from the UWF. You can ask Kafusa, who's taking a beating. And you can ask that Ingrid, Savannah Jack, and the list goes on and on. So if you want to join them, boy, I got Eli the Eliminator. Why don't you just step on up here, big shot, and show them what a big American stud that you really are. Oh, and by the way, I don't do it like you back-jumping Americans. We'll do it one-on-one. Me and Wild Bill will leave the ring. So you want an education, punk? Come on.
Well, Bill, that's a pretty straightforward challenge to this young man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know if Doc, I just don't know if he's ready for that kind of challenge or not. He's a youngster with a lot of heart and a lot of fire. If you talk about stepping into the real den of rattlesnakes, you know, he's still fresh out of where they play by the rules, you know, and if it's one-on-one or it's one team against the other, but it's not the whole team against one guy. And right now, if he's not careful, he's just stepping into that kind of snake pit.
The fans are certainly behind him, but they don't have to go in and face Eli.
Oh, but Steve Cox is a powerful kid, you know. He's a tough kid. He's an All-American. You know, you can't take it, and he loves to compete. But I'm afraid what he doesn't understand is he may not just be against Eli. Oh, he got caught there, but he gave it right back. It's just one-on-one, toe-to-toe right now. Oh, all right. Oh, I love it. He popped that sucker. All right, Bill Irwin's coming in. See, that's what I mean. He's not going to be. It's going to be.
And they haven't put
Doc better get out there. They're going to be on him. The kid's giving it all. He's giving his all, but he's got a powerful toe. There's Doc and Teddy. Doc and Teddy aren't going to let him catch it that way.
But Steve Cox was standing tall.
He was standing tall. He got shook, but he didn't break. That shows me what that kid's made out of. And these fans love it. Doc said he had a lot of heart. I know Mike Moulton, he's crazy in his gym for a long time. Mike says the kid's a great kid.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Cox has certainly made an impression on the fans of Universal Wrestling Federation. And Cowboy Bill Watson, I'll be right back with more exciting action right after this timeout.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Pittsburgh at 220 pounds, Ken Massey.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Universal Wrestling Federation. Cowboy Bill Watts and Jim Ross with you from the Tulsa Convention Center. And Bill, this place was still rocking long after Steve Cox, Dr. Death, and Ted DiBiase left the ring.
Well, Coach Akbar, the one-man gang, is the Universal Wrestling Federation champion. I think his brains were a little scrambled. I think DiBiase got a heck of a lick on him after the gang had a collision with a former All-American from TU, Steve Cox. And, of course, Akbar thought he'd sucker young Steve Cox right into the snake pit, which he did. But Steve Cox proved he has a few rattles of his own, and he bit back. And, of course, now the Dallas Times Herald pinup for this week in color, Missy Hyatt and Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing, accompanied by Sting and the lovely Missy Hyatt, from every girl's dream at 227 pounds, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. This match, one fall or 10-minute time limit.
Eddie Gilbert's out there with a very controversial pair, no doubt about it, in Sting and Missy Hyatt. They have really, I think, created a great deal of controversy in the past several weeks. Eddie Gilbert's newfound aggressiveness, and he is a very accomplished athlete. I don't think we should ever discount that. He can definitely wrestle, former Rookie of the Year.
Jim, I know I shouldn't digress, but, you know, there's an important situation. Steve Dr. Death Williams, of course, has become one of the most in-demand international stars in the world today. And Doc is on the way to a big tour in Japan as Mid-South and Universal Wrestling Federation has been recognized by the Japanese Wrestling Federation. And Steve Cox is not going to be on that tour. He's going to be right here in the Universal Wrestling Federation. And I certainly hope that Doc can give him some sage advice and get him geared up, because without Doc to be around to kind of guide him, it could be a rough time for the youngster.
It certainly could. It's a rough time for Ken Massey right here, as this match has been all Eddie Gilbert on the offense. As I mentioned, we hear Eddie spouting off, and he can back it up.
Yeah, Eddie's a finely conditioned young athlete, and of course, he's had so much improvement in his stable. As Sting has improved by leaps and bounds, and also Rick Steiner, the former All-American from Michigan. So Eddie Gilbert is the guy that cracks the whip and keeps those guys in shape, and he's the one that inspires them. And of course, I guess his inspiration is Missy Hyatt.
Yes, I would say she does have a profound influence on Eddie Gilbert's life. They're really inseparable.
There's that little viciousness by Eddie Gilbert, that little something that just makes you want to bust him in the mouth. As you see that he outclasses Massey anyway. He's got the arm barred, but he took the other elbow and rubbed Massey's face right in that canvas, and that's painful. That canvas will peel your skin. It's a little bit tougher than a razor burn. And when you get one of those matte burns from that canvas, it oozes. It's just like what it is. It's a burn, and it has to heal from the inside out. And Eddie Gilbert loves to mark these guys up. He and Buddy Jack, I think in a lot of ways, they have the same nature, the sadistic type nature. Of course, Eddie Gilbert, a master at manipulation as he takes the hair and brings Ken Massey to his back.
You know, the thing about it in this situation, Bill, he didn't need to pull the hair to take the man off his feet. He's got Massey weakened anyway, and he's, as you said, he has outclassed him thus far quite easily in this contest. Missy Hyatt's very happy. She has a smile that's been on her face since she got out here, so she's happy with her main man.
Of course, Eddie is really playing cat and mouse, too. He's got the flanker stuck in there, and he's got the arm barred. Moves out the flanker. He really feels in control right now. I'd certainly like to see Ken Massey upset him. I'd like to see that Steve Cox against him. I'll tell you, that kid, you know, you get a premonition sometimes about youngsters.
Massey firing back on Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, as Gilbert had a slight miscalculation in that corner. High elevation.
Great. Ken Massey's saying, hey, if you're going to beat me, bud, you better bring it all, but just don't sit out here and show off and try to make me look like a fool. He's giving Eddie Gilbert a little dental work here.
Into the ropes goes Gilbert, and Gilbert with a knee lift. Massey was apparently going to set Gilbert to elevate him again, but Gilbert outthinking Massey on that occasion. Ooh, that's his hot shot. Eddie Gilbert's hot shot, and that is a devastating maneuver.
I guarantee you, my old chiropractor buddy, Dr. Anderson, will have to take on Ken Massey there and straighten him out after that whiplash. There's a win for Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Hyatt and Hot Stuff International victorious. We'll see the other portion of this entourage. It'll be Rick Steiner and Chavo Guerrero when we come back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Universal Wrestling Federation. I'm standing here with a newcomer to the Universal Wrestling Federation, but not a newcomer to wrestling, Sam Houston.
Let me tell you something. I've traveled all over the world, and I'm telling you right now, I'm really happy because I'm back home. I'm back in the UWF. This is my home. These states that the UWF goes to, I've been there, I've lived here, I've traveled these highways and byways, and I'm going to stay here. I want to be #1 in the UWF. I have never, in my career as a professional wrestler, back down from anybody, and I don't intend to start now. I intend to go full force and give everybody everything I've got because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something. I may not be the biggest and I may not be the baddest, but I want to be the best. And to be the best, you've got to have that UWF Heavyweight Championship. And I'm going to tell you what, Terry Gordy, you're a big guy, Bam Bam, one-man gang, you're all big. But I'm going to tell you something, I've beat big men before, and I can do it again. All you need to know is I've got a really good bulldog.
Sam, it's great to have you here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to some pre-recorded words from Chavo Guerrero.
You know, later on in this hour, I've got a very important match because I got to wrestle one Rick Steiner. Now, why is it so important if I wrestled him so many times? I just did. When you wrestle somebody so long, for so many times, they figure out your style, they figure out your moves, they figure out your plan, your war plan. Well, Rick Steiner, I know that you have that suplex that you do, that you learned back in your college where you were in All-America. Well, Chavo Guerrero's got one too. And I've got a saying, and we call that move a suplex for you people that don't call it. You haven't been plexed till you've been mixed. And when I get in there, Steiner, we're going to find out which suplex is the best. And I can't wait to get my hands on you because it is a test for me, wrestling an All-American, wrestling somebody that can bench 500 pounds. But that doesn't matter because when we get in the ring, we all have 10 fingers. We all have 2 hands and we all have 2 legs, and it comes one-on-one. Now, the only thing is, are you going to be by yourself? Can you handle it by yourself, Steiner?
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing first from Detroit, Michigan, at 268 pounds, Rick Steiner, accompanied by hot stuff Eddie Gilbert. And introducing from Fountain Valley, California, at 224 pounds, Chavo Guerrero. This match, 1 fall or 10-minute time limit.
This should be a great one, Bill. Chavo Guerrero and Rick Steiner, and next week we'll have the first appearance of the new UWF Tag Team Champions, the wrestling debut of Steve Cox and Sam Houston here with us next week in the UWF.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Sam Houston. This kid's an exciting young kid, and of course, naturally, I'll be looking forward to this debut of Steve Cox here on Universal Wrestling Federation, as well as the new Tag Team Champions. This is a great bout. This match, you should see some moves that you don't ordinarily see. Rick Steiner, tremendous upper body strength. He is a gymnasium animal. Great power, great suit play, tremendous leg strength. Chavo Guerrero, just a tough competitor, a guy that takes things, and oftentimes he keeps guys completely off guard by his unorthodox moves. Just about the time you think you got Chavo in a lot of trouble, he'll make some phenomenal move that just blows your mind.
They're certainly hard to describe sometimes, Bill. I know I've had a hard time deciphering exactly what is going on, but the results are always very positive for Chavo Guerrero.
Well, he's another like DiBiase that comes from a wrestling family. His father, Gordy Guerrero, and all the family I know in El Paso are tremendously proud of him. And of course, Los Angeles, where he now calls home. Last time I was up at Vail at our condo there with the kids skiing. I ran into some fans, and they said, we can't wait for the Universal Wrestling Federation to bring Steve Dr. Death Williams home and Chavo Guerrero to Denver, Colorado. And we hope to have some word about that in a few weeks.
We're also looking forward to being in St. Louis very, very soon. Also to Minneapolis.
Wow, Rick Steiner's popping him now. Rick Steiner getting outmaneuvered a little bit in the technique department, has decided to open it up and try to use that brute strength, that animalism, to take it to Chavo. But let me tell you something. I've never seen Chavo back down from any man, and I've seen him against the big ones. Chavo came up, and he earned everything he got. He's got tremendous desire, tremendous determination. Wow! He got elevated in, and Eddie Gilbert is just excited to no end as he sees Rick Steiner firing away at Chavo Guerrero.
And we're inside a minute 30 of airtime remaining. The Motor City Madman from Detroit, Rick Steiner. He says he's the toughest man ever to come out of Detroit, Michigan. And I'm not going to argue with him.
I'm not going to argue with him, but I'm telling you, that's some broad territory up there. And I understand you had a great trip up, Jim, when you met with our affiliate that were on up there. A tremendous television station.
The great folks at WXYZ, Channel 7, the ABC affiliate in Detroit. Chavo Guerrero.
Eddie Gilbert, again, I'm telling you that penalty box ought to be in effect all the time. As a matter of fact, I'd like to see 2 or 3 of them break the penalty and all be in the box for a minute at the same time. Maybe when they couldn't run from each other, we'd really get some things settled in something like that. You can see Chavo Guerrero, he hurt his kidney area. Of course, Rick Steiner looking totally innocent.
Eddie Gilbert got completely away from Chavo, but he did his damage. And Steiner doesn't want Chavo back in the ring. We got 30 seconds of airtime left, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Universal Wrestling Federation. Remember the debut of the new tag team champions right here next week.
Look at that Chavo, that tremendous leap. He almost got Steiner there. Jim, it doesn't look like we're going to have an ending to this match before we go off the air, but Chavo made another tremendous move. He has Rick Steiner. He has Rick Steiner. Chavo, he pulled out another. Jim, I thought sure this match would be going right out there, but he got it again. And look at Eddie Gilbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Cowboy Bill Watts, this is Jim Ross. We'll see you next week right here on the UWF.
Ladies and this is the feature attraction of the evening. The best
is disqualified. Ooh. Slammed him into
mercifully with his headlock. Look out. Oh.
And Brody just going berserk here on
Johnny, look at this. Fans, there's no mistaking Billy Graham.
Getting the heck out of Dodge. And they tanned Ric Flair.
I want you and everyone listening in to know one thing, that if they ever made another guy better than me, he hasn't been made.
Fine. Nice tackle by Flair. Put Steamboat down. Good movement by Steamboat. Great leap from. And what a chop. And the champion of the world on the head was the tag. Oh, come on now.
Might have hurt his leg a little bit there.
A referee stands stubborn.
Till he plays that fight off.
Go into the ring when Roddy Piper Doc Conwell wants to go into the ring, Mr. Announcer. Right.
Here comes Koloff off the ropes. Look at the power. Oh, he hit the back of his head. Oh!
That is, to a nicer guy, it couldn't happen.